Hi, welcome to the latest in this short series on unjustly neglected Irish record sources. Today is going to be a brief one. I'm going to talk about Church of Ireland records and the representative church body library, the library of the Church of Ireland here in Dublin. And I'm going to do it using my own website, using some of the listings on the website to show you what you might not be aware of. So let's go to the website now. Okay, here we are. What I'm going to be talking about, you'll be glad to hear, is in the free section, in the browse section. I go to browse and pick a county and Tipperary, find big target and church records. And here there's various ways of going about it. You go into the Church of Ireland and you can filter by repository. But before we do that, I want to just point out the Church of Ireland listings are a bit more complicated than other ones, basically because the Church of Ireland was the state church and its records before 1870 were in the Public Record Office in 1922, and they were all destroyed, all 2/3 of the records on the island of Ireland. So one of the first things in each listing here, you see for Abington, 1811 to 1875, records held by the Public Record Office in 1919. Okay, and because of what happened in 1922, the originals and the transcripts and the abstracts that stand in for the originals are all over the place. They're in the National Archives, they're in the Public Record Office in Northern Ireland, they're in the RCB library, they're held locally, there are published transcripts. You know, it's much more complex, much messier, not necessarily more intelligent in the sense of complicated like that, but it's much messier than most other denominations. So, for example, you see in the case of Abington, there are 7 listings. So the National Archives has a microfilm copy of something. The Mormons in Salt Lake City have an index to marriages pre-1845 in Limerick Church of Ireland registers. North Tipperary Genealogy Centre has a transcript of those, and the full RCB reference is here. This is what I really want to talk about. The RCB has a fair amount of the original records, but almost as valuable are its detailed listings of the records. So let's go and have a look at what they have for Abington. Okay, it has parish number, so on and so forth, record of the parish of Abington in the Diocese of Emly, the County of Limerick, 1811 to 1892. They came in from parish custody in 1928 and 2001, and from St. Mary's Cathedral, Limerick in 2020, and this is what they have. They have a combined register from 1898. They have register of marriages from 1849, the preacher's book, the cess book, and you can see the originals are not there. Okay, the originals were destroyed in 1922. Okay, but there are all these other ones from 1898, 1884, 1849. They're all very late. Vestry Minute Book and the Register of Vestrymen. The vestry was the governing committee of the Church of Ireland parish. All right, you might say, well, that's all very, very useful if your ancestor was a bigwig in the Church of Ireland and they're likely to be on the governing committee. No, you have to keep in mind for the period before 1870, the Church of Ireland parish was actually an arm of the state. It was an administrative arm of the state, which meant it dealt with all sorts of things like bridges, like fields. It had the poor, before the Poor Law came in, very often alms were given out, and they were not necessarily, maybe mostly to members of their own denomination, but for local history particularly, but also for genealogy in some cases, they can shed light on lots of non-members of the Church of Ireland and non-prosperous members of the Church of Ireland. Let's go back to the listing just again for a second. I've managed to do this in most cases. So let's just filter it by repository, representative church body library. So now we're only looking at the representative church body library. So let's pick one where they have Dunkerrin, okay, County Limerick, the first full, there we are. Dunkerrin in the Diocese of Killaloe, County of Tipperary. They arrived from parish custody in 1983, 1999, and 2012. A history of the parish has been published as Seamus O'Rian Dunkerrin, a parish in Eli O'Carroll, Dunkerrin, 1988. Again, one of the things they do in the RCB library is they collate any relevant information relating to this parish. They give a reference to it in this. So it's always worth checking out. Here you can see that may be in the listing for local histories for Dunkerrin or not. I haven't checked, but it's certainly here. And again, the level of detail that they give, the breakdown, the exact years covered. You see, there's a gap in the vestry book for 20 years there. The marriage, baptisms 1825 to 52. Okay, but not afterwards. So if you're interested in exact detail of the records, then the RCB listing is the thing to look at. I should add as well that the RCB are in the process of digitizing, and some of the records have been digitized. They're on irishgenealogy.ie for Dublin City, for Kerry, for Carlow, but the rest are still, it is the major repository for Church of Ireland records, for surviving Church of Ireland records, and they are in the process of digitizing them. Watch this space. Within a few years, hopefully, this is one of the last great digital frontiers of Irish genealogy, and there should be good news on that front. I'm going to stop it there. As I say, this is part of the browse section. If you go into the pane section, you can drill down to civil parish and check the local histories and the rest of it. But this is here county by county. Enjoy. All right, and good hunting.